You dickhead.
I'm just air drumming the foot.
That was gold. It's such a good song, you can't help it. Get
Is
excited.
Is there a better intro song?
For the footy. What was the other one? That
I always
you
liked House is Rocking. If the house
the House is Rocking is good. But then at the time, I was young and I thought that was like heavy metal. Now I heard it back. It's like as country as it gets.
Yeah, they had Bacteria a few years ago, which is probably the hit. Yeah.
Oh, was that? I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, welcome back to the Thing About Football podcast. My name is Paul. His name is Clint. How are you, Clint?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm getting really excited.
I'm pumped.
I don't know if you can see from there, but I'm getting pretty excited, bro.
You can't see it.
Footy's back.
It is. With footy, with these practice matches, do you think it was better? You think the way that they're doing it now, the preseason now, is better now?
No, absolutely not. It was way better in the 90s.
Because we talk about this a lot, because we regularly watch the Anzac Cup, 97 Anzac Cup, Carlton St Kilda?
Anzac, Geelong.
Carlton Geelong at Waverley?
Geelong. Yes.
Yeah. We talk about that one a lot.
It was a good one.
The Lightning Premiership or whatever it was called back then, the Anzac Cup. And we loved the preseason back then, a long time ago. Nowadays, it just doesn't have the same build-up, but still just as pumped.
I don't know. I think teams took it really seriously back then. And wasn't there like a money advantage to try and win? And if you won both flags, you got a bonus? I
think that might have come later when Carlton was in the Wizard Cup grand finals, like around 2000. Like if you won both, then you got the bonus. I don't think that was around in the 90s.
Okay.
But there was big crowds. Like
people cared, man. And yeah there was 70+ thousand, and it was the normal game. It wasn't AFLX. They didn't super goal it. It was just use it properly, get fitter, and have a crack. And I found there was less injuries, but that's probably because the game's so different now, the way that they run, obviously. But anyway, footy's coming up.
We probably cared more about it because Carlton were actually good back then, so we're actually winning.
That is true. That was a long time ago. That's probably why we love the 90s so much. But
fucking sad but true.
With the season coming up in a couple of weeks, we did touch on last week in our first step about what's going on in footy and all these changes that they're making. It's got us thinking, about the footy we love the most, and we both agreed pretty easily that
hands down
the 90s was the best era for footy. My dad will probably disagree. He loved the 70s and all that, but he's old.
But again, your dad, my dad, they grew up in a time when Carlton were good and winning flags during the 80s, and now we had the 90s where we only won one flag, but at least we were competitive compared to now.
That's true.
This episode's depressing already.
That's true. Well, the main thing of the 90s that you just can't deny is that every team, pretty much nearly every team, had some type of superstar full forward who had a pretty decent crack at kicking a massive bag of goals. I've got some stats here. On 14 occasions in the 90s, a player kicked 100 goals. 14 times.
That's a lot.
So Lockett 5 times, Dunstall 4, Ablett 3, Sumich and Modra. And then there was a host of other guys who pretty much were in the 90s. I know Sticks got pretty close once.
I don't know what the Sticks' highest is. I think he got 70-something in 94-ish.
Wow.
Wow. That's an insane amount of goals.
And not only just that, it says also guys kicking 10 in a game happened 69 times in the 90s. In the 17, it says here 17 years since. Obviously, it's been, I don't think many have kicked it since 2017, maybe one or two. So call it 20 times since.
Last year, Bruce kicked 10.
Yeah, well, like I said, only a couple. So 69 times in the 90s and then 20 more times in the 2 decades since.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And
that's unreal.
Got to be, Franklin and Lloyd, probably. I know Franklin's
Lloyd.
kicked 13. Fev never kicked 10.
Yeah, it would have been Lloyd a few times. I don't remember anyone else getting close besides Franklin. No.
Bruce last year, but that's about it. Maybe Kennedy against...
Who last year? Oh, kicking... Oh, no, Lacroix. Lacroix kicked 10 once against the Bombers.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Fucking nerds. Look at us.
Jonathan Brown did it against Carlton once at least too, yeah. How could we forget about that one? I even remember Stephen Silvani, the fullback of the Century, kicked 10 once.
Yep. He used to do it regularly as well.
Unbelievable. Fullback of the Century kicked over 200 goals from his 300 games.
Best swingman ever.
As a fullback. That's unbelievable.
Would you take...
So we've got a regular counter, as you can see on screen at the moment. 6,386 days since the Bombers last won a final.
It's for all the Essendon supporters who have just clicked off now and given us a thumbs down and all that kind of stuff. Hey, leave a review, guys. Old school forwards, new school forwards. Are you taking any of the new school forwards over the old school ones?
None. Not even, buddy.
You wouldn't take Franklin over Savroka, Modra,
oh mate,
Sumic. I'd take him over those.
Not over Dunstall, Ablett or Lockett. Absolutely not. But yeah.
What about Matthew Lloyd? Matthew Lloyd's a bit of a weird one. He's almost in between.
Yeah.
Would you take Matthew Lloyd over Stephen Kernahan?
It's hard. They were different. Lloyd was more a full forward, and Sticks was moved up a bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Lloyd, I'd say Lloyd was in a good side, and when you think about the Bombers, should have won 99, should have won 2001. That team was too good to have only won one. And I know after 99, Sheedy made them all go watch the granny and made them hurt. And apparently, I don't know if this is right. I'm sure if I read it, but the next day they were at training, getting ready for 2000 after the granny. Yeah. So someone please let me know if that's legit or if I'm making it up or if I heard it somewhere. But I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
Is that the last time they won a final? I know that's wrong.
Sorry, this is going to be a regular thing. So get on board or go somewhere else.
What were some of your favourite players from the 90s, apart from the forwards?
Man, there's too many to mention. Like,
true.
I understand it's in a decade, but even if you're thinking of the last decade from now, I could pick maybe one player from each team that I can stand, and not even my own team. But back then, you got Michael Long, Craig Bradley, Darren Jarman, Gary Hocking, Gary Ablett, all the forwards we already mentioned, Bucks, Hurd, Peter Matera, Robert Harvey, like just absolute legends. Crawford, Sauce, Carey, McLeod.
Nathan Buckley was probably one for me that because I hate Collingwood. I hate all teams, but I fucking despise Collingwood. But Nathan Buckley for me was the first one that...
My mum goes for Collingwood. I love you, Mum.
We still hate Collingwood. Nathan Buckley was the first one for me that made me appreciate a good player from another team. Like there was a game against us actually where he got the ball. He was like 55, wrong foot, left foot, straight through the guts, and you're like, "What? How did you do that, you freak?" Thinking that we had him hemmed in, and you check the stats later, he's got 35 touches and 3 goals and fucking dominated, and you'd just be like, "Oh, I hate to love you." Really, that was me with Nathan Buckley, and even the same with Wayne Carey. I hated Wayne Carey. We went to Carlton North Melbourne game. And one of our close family friends was a North Melbourne fan, and they took us into the North Melbourne Social Club afterwards. And Kerry had a decent day out. We didn't play too great, and he just slagged off Silvani the whole time. Just, oh my God. And so, I was a young kid, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, "You fucking bastard!" But every top 20 player that Kerry does, or a top 20 list that he does, he's got fucking sauce included in them. But, yeah. Anyway, Wayne Carey was another one.
Wayne Carey. Well, speaking of Collingwood, though, I know you mentioned Bucks, who was always good. And I know this guy's probably obviously started in the 80s, but was still special in the 90s. And his two sons are still there at Collingwood. Old Peter Dacos.
Dakes.
You know, he sort of started that flashy Eddie Betts style, you know, before anyone else did. Everyone else was just a solid footballer, really. No one was, you know, besides maybe some Aboriginal guys who had some flair. Dakes just did things that no one else could do.
He was a freak.
Absolute freak. We've got a bit of a highlights package later we're going to react to, and I know there's some Dakes in there. It's pretty good.
There was an interview with Peter Dacos, and he said he used to hate being called lucky because he used to train to be lucky, or his definition of lucky. So, you know, he was a freak. He was great to watch. He
was good to watch. Some other interesting things from the 90s. It was always the VFL up until then.
Yeah.
And all the interstate teams started coming in and, you know, making an impact pretty much straight away. Who was the first one in? West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast.
West Coast came in, and then within however many years, they've got 2 flags.
I think West Coast, Adelaide, and Port Adelaide all won a flag within that 6 to 7 year mark after coming into the competition.
That's true. Well, there you go. Adelaide 97, 98.
Yeah. Freo was 2004 against Brisbane. Port, sorry.
Yeah.
Port was 2004.
Freo getting introduced in 95, Port in 97.
Yeah.
We lost Mighty Fitzroy in a merger, which
good old Roy boys,
which ended up turning out to be amazing for them.
True.
Which how many players ended up making the trip though? Not many. Chris Johnson, Alistair Lynch,
Blakey. Pike. Sorry, not
Pike.
Blakey. Pike.
Pike went Melbourne, North Melbourne, Melbourne.
No, then it was Blakey. I'm sure Blakey. Yeah.
No, Blakey was in North. Where was he? What are you talking about?
It's either is it Mike Pike?
You're thinking of Martin Pike. He started at Melbourne. He went to North, and then he went to Brisbane, not via Fitzroy.
Well, I thought he was at Fitzroy.
No.
All right, scrap that.
Chris Johnson, Alistair Lynch. Not many others would have made the cut to Brisbane.
They all left. But they were probably old ones like did Roger Merritt play for Fitzroy before he went to Brisbane?
He was Bears.
He was Brisbane Bears. That's right. That's way old.
Let's talk about. I know Geelong's been pretty good since, but they had a horror 90s. Thinking about the talent they had and having old YAAAABBBBBBLEEEEEETTTTTTTT, they made the finals nearly every year.
89, 92, 94, 95.
All the grannies they lost. And obviously I remember that 95 year, I know Carlton won, but they pushed Carlton all the way in that game, and then it got to the granny and they shit the bed real bad.
Well, that was late too, round 20, round 22, something like that.
Might have only been a couple of points if I remember right.
Fuck Geelong. They've had all their frigging good luck in the last 10 years. Oh, they've had a pretty good
run,
30-year run.
They have. So West Coast 92, 94, Adelaide 97, 98.
North Melbourne are probably the. I know you like bullshit facts.
Yeah.
But if you look up a ladder from the 90s, North Melbourne are actually on top with their win ratio. North Melbourne.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Nerd. No, I would have said Geelong. But yeah, North Melbourne are the only team with over 500 win ratio.
Really? Yeah. There you go. Because they won 96, so they won the centenary year, which was 96. The Gold Cup that I wanted. I know we got 95, but the Gold Cup's still a Gold Cup. And then obviously in 99 they beat Carlton, but Carlton won the grand final the week before, beating the Bombers in that.
They won the game that mattered. Let's be honest. All right.
Is that, or is that biased? Because I know
yes, it is. It's the best game of all time.
Yeah. I don't think everyone would agree, but
is there?
I don't know.
Do you reckon Cooter's performance in that, or Jarman's performance in the prelim final of 97, or the grand final performance, is the most clutch moment of the 90s? Cooter's second half in the 99 prelim.
I think I read recently that just in that quarter, his stats equaled like 170 Supercoach points or something ridiculous.
There you have it. Best player ever. How did he not win the Brownlow in 2000? I know it's not 90s, but how?
Well, what game was it that he ended up doing his knee in?
I think round 20
So
against
it shouldn't have made a
Essendon.
difference. He must have just got stooged. Melbourne did have a good year, but Woden and Kuda is Kuda. And
Just give it to him on his name alone. Come on.
let's talk about, just briefly, Carlton of 95, because I know how much you loved it. I've watched that granny a few times.
Carlton 95, you know what's weird about Carlton 95 is that you look at every single player in that 22, nearly every single one of them is a household name except for Adrian Whitehead.
That's true.
How did Adrian Whitehead...
Having said that, he contributed. It's not like he was useless.
Well, he was robbed of injuries but in his career, but yeah. But do you reckon they underachieved? Because they were a good side.
Just like Essendon of 99, 2000, 2001, that Carlton team probably should have won 93, obviously. It would have been from 93 to 96, right in that period. They should have won more than one. Yep. You can't go 20-2 and then, you know.
Well, they choked in the finals. They choked either side of the finals. They got beaten in straight sets in 94 and 96. I think Melbourne and Richmond booted them out and they came from like 6th place. Horrible.
There you go. Another cool thing of the 90s that, I don't know, there's a lot more crap going on with footy jumpers now, you know, Collingwood and not wanting to do it, change their jumper. Everyone's so precious about their jumper. If you look at the Premier League, there's like 58 kits per team, you know, just wear whatever. Like, we don't have to be, you want to change every single rule and then talk to us about, you know, don't make things different. Well, you know, loyalty to the jumper. Get out of here. Come on, mate. It's a jumper.
It's all money.
Keep your home jumper and do whatever you want with your away jumper. It's anyway, but the OG Freo jumper, that was cool.
Why did they move away from it?
I don't know. They need to go back to it because
love the Freo jumper.
Even the OG West Coast jumper, compared to some of the horror things they did to it afterwards, there were some horrible ones also in the 90s.
Yep.
But I remember Collingwood's one always being decent. North Melbourne, the one with the kangaroo on it was pretty cool. The Eminem one was pretty crap, but obviously
Carlton
it was.
Eminem promo one, jeez.
I loved.
Do you remember the collars on the footy jumpers? The early 90s.
You love that.
I fucking loved them. Bring the collars back. Spray a bit of starch on them. Pop the collar like Mark Ward. Bring it back.
Yeah, the 90s. No one wore skins in the 90s. The early 2000s, everyone wore skins.
Ask Ange Christian.
State of Origin.
Yep.
People, you know, we watch it now. We get into the NRL because some of our mates, they take those games seriously, and we used to in the 90s. And there were some ripper games that, well, I can't remember what year it was, and it was Boomer Harvey completely dominated and might have won a medal, but it was so cool to watch, you know, all these guns. And there might have been like 2 or 3 since.
Yep.
The one with Judd and Fev that we would have loved. But
this is an exhibition game, that one.
How good was it you watching Plugger and Ablett in the same forward line, and then coming down to help is Gary Lyon, or, you know,
Gary Ablett.
You got Sticks and Braddles and all the Carlton guys that we used to follow playing with all these South Australians, and the games were amazing, and they were rough and they were tough, and it was different. Yeah, they cared. It was actually about your state, and there was a bit of biff and there was a bit of niggle, but it wasn't like it is now. It's one thing I hate about football now is the taunting, that almost NFL-like crap. If someone takes a mark and the whole defense comes to give it to the opponent. How many marks did, you know, Plugger take over Sauce? Do you think he even looked at him once or said anything? He might have said some horrible shit at the start of the game, which is what Plugger's famous for, you know, saying, if you come near me, I'm going to kill you, you know. But that's different than just taking a mark and showing him, and he's just
doing these.
I need to learn. Yeah, just piss off, man. Just go back, kick the goal. Other guys, leave the defenders alone. I really hate that about this style of footy, and
there's too much money. There's way too much money and everything.
They watch too many other sports and try and do other shit that other people do. And
anyway, they all love the NBA. They all copy that. They all copy the NFL. We haven't lost you already. We have now.
Quick update. Anzac Day, 1995, first ever one.
Cool segue. Yeah. I see what you did there.
Sorry, Bombers, but this was an amazing game. I remember watching this game. Actually, I would have been, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something. And I loved Sav Rocker, even as a Carlton fan. I just loved Sav, and he kicked 9 on the first Anzac Day in a draw, and it was just an unbelievable game.
Won the medal, didn't get any Brownlow votes.
Really?
Nathan Buckley got 3 votes.
Guy kicks 9, and he doesn't. Wow.
Nathan Buckley had 35 touches and kicked a couple of goals.
But he kicked 9.
I know. But back then, like you said,
shit.
That's 2 goals. Nowadays.
You kick 9, man. You're getting 3 votes. I don't care what. Wow. I didn't know that. Anyway, there was 95,000 there.
There was a lockout that day too.
Yeah, that's right. Do you have any other games from the 90s that stick out besides maybe the prelim?
There was a bad one against West Coast Eagles. We were at Optus Oval at the time, and we had 2 West Coast supporters sitting in front of us, and my sister was getting a bit mouthy, and the West Coast supporter turned around and said to us and goes, "I hope you lose by a point," and we lost by a point.
That's so good.
Yeah. And the whole time through the last quarter, my sister kept leaning over and was just like, "Geez, I hope we don't lose by a point. I hope we don't lose by a point." And then, I think it was a game we get pinged for deliberate out of bounds. Maybe Andrew McKay gets done.
Yeah, okay,
and
I remember.
The guy who kicks the goal from the boundary line is like right in front of us as well. You probably go back to the tape and you can see us sitting 4 rows back.
Wow.
Yeah, I think my sister was actually crying that day. It's pretty funny. Good.
I remember you were talking about Darren Jarman, that prelim when the Bulldogs
insane.
The Bulldogs had him, man. They were like 4 goals up in the last, and
insane.
Then Adelaide just went bang, 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 and I think Modra was out. So Modra was out, and that's right.
He didn't play the grand final either. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did the same thing in the grand final against St Kilda.
Yeah, they came back and
yeah. That was a good side, that Adelaide side. I liked watching them. I like watching them.
Good Rashudo and McLeod, and who else was running through the guts? I'm missing.
Oh, that was
McLeod.
You had Matthew Liptak back then.
Who's the other guy that was captain for a while?
Dermot. Nigel Smart.
Nigel Smart's in the back line. The other midfielder. Anyway, his name eludes me.
I've got him right. I can see him. I can see. The North Melbourne Geelong prelim, 94.
That was unreal.
Gary Ablett taking mark of the century. Although, I don't know if that's mark of the century.
Nah, which one are you talking about? No, that's not against Collingwood. This is the one where he takes the mark in the goal square on the siren pretty much. Yep. That was an unbelievable finish.
Poor Mickey Martin. Remember his face? He was shattered.
Another thing better in the 90s, commentating.
Oh, 100%. Drew Morfitt was the man. Massively underrated commentator was Drew Morfitt. I used to love listening to him commentate. And Sandy Roberts.
Sandy Roberts was good for a long time. Bruce was a lot younger and a lot more energetic, and the start of Special and all that sort of stuff. Dennis has always been Dennis.
He's always had his rhetorical questions though, hasn't he?
Who's that? Wow.
I'll see myself out.
That was really good. Yeah. I don't think now we hear it a lot. It's probably to do with the media as well. It always comes up every year. They do their crappy surveys and they rank everyone and everything in the media. And I just don't remember anyone complaining back then about the coverage.
Like James Brayshaw?
Do I like him? Yeah, I actually don't mind him.
Yeah, I like him as well. He gets a bad rap. Don't know why.
I don't like BT as much, but Brayshaw is pretty good. And I think a lot of people don't like Eddie Maguire, but he's actually a really good commentator.
Eddie Maguire has commentated some cracking Carlton games.
He is a really good commentator.
Cracking Carlton games. Remember the 2007 Wizard Cup?
Yeah.
Favola from the pocket.
How could I forget that? Was he commentating that Prendergast goal too?
I think so.
The 9-pointer?
Yep.
Yeah. I think I remember that. All right. Now, the thing that I love most about the 90s, the thing that always, and I still do this to this day because I love the merch. I loved all the retro clothes. I have like all these reminders set up on my eBay. So anytime something from the 90s pops up, I've got it. I've got baby shirts this big. I've got every cool Adidas, Nike, Lotto, Starter, Russell Athletic, anything from the 90s, I've got it. It's the best.
No Avco?
Yeah, I do. I've got that. Seacom. I've got it all.
I love it. Yeah, I do know how much you love it because you've even just like Clint, I've bought us a couple of jackets and then you come out old Carlton jumpers with the old monogram on it as well. Yeah, you do love your 90s merch.
I do.
Have you got any of those old school tracksuits as well?
I got all of them, every single one. They might not fit as nice as they used to, but I've got them.
Stinking hot as well, they would be.
The logos in the 90s, did you used to get those stickers and
all that sticker book was my bread and butter. I used to love it. The sticker book, the logos that were like printed on almost like aluminium foil. They had that hologram type thing. You stick them in the book. But those logos,
I used to love that.
Those logos were amazing. I used to sit there for hours and just draw them. They have to bring those back.
They used to have those logos like on headbands and on flags.
Yep.
They were good. I would love to get that back. Do you have any other things like cards and...
Yeah, footy cards. I used to collect footy cards all the time. The stickers were a pretty big thing. My sister was into her badges and posters and news articles and all that kind of stuff. She used to cut them out and stick pictures up on her wall. Sylvani was her favourite. Andrew McKay. They were just her wall was just filled with it. But badges were a big thing. Stickers and footy cards were probably the main ones.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah,
just doesn't compare now. Not that I've taken much notice, but I think the artistry isn't the same. Even WEG posters, they used to be. Yeah, no disrespect to the new guy that does them. Obviously he does a good job, but it's not. It's not the same. It's just not the same.
No, bring back the old logos.
Bring back the old logos.
We should incorporate it from now on. When we're talking about a team, 90s logos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Random.
If you had to cue that up then and it had to been the Essendon logo, that would have been perfect.
That would have been really good. I also used to love what the umpires wore, especially the goal umpires. They looked
part of the mafia, man.
They looked like gangsters. He had a tie on. He had his cool hat.
He was serious too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they don't let the goal umpires loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, it would be fun to watch them, do a little dance. And then
the old 70s ones used to come out and they used to like be all for it and their big trench coats.
That was pretty cool. And the streamers coming, that still happened in the 90s.
Yes.
All the streamers and all the crap coming, those stupid things from behind the goal, those big toilet brushes, whatever they were.
Yeah, and then it got all political, health and safety. Now they can't hang over the fence.
Yeah, good.
Gonna hurt someone's feelings.
Pronoun.
We went down there. Jeez, we can't help ourselves, can we?
Oh man. What else have we got? Oh yeah, the footy songs from the 90s.
Yeah, footy songs from classics. Up there, Gazali.
Even the intros to like Channel 7, like we're saying.
Yep.
That what was that one called? Hello, baby.
If the house is rocking. The footy grounds.
Oh, I missed local footy and suburban footy, as they called it.
Do you remember going to Princess Park back in the day before the Legend Stand was there?
Yeah. When was that? I first started going in 94, 95.
Might have been around that time.
Yeah.
Waverley. Remember going to Waverley?
I went to the last game at Waverley.
Yeah.
I remember that. So I would have been about 11 or 12. And I remember people just stealing everything.
Yeah.
Jumping over the counter, stealing like the straw dispensers, stealing signs, stealing everything they could. Just, that last piece. I remember like I was on the ground. I was just filling my pockets full of grass like a dickhead. I was 12 years old, man. I don't know what I did. I probably chucked on my ground like, what is this dickhead doing? There's grass. But that was the best.
There was none of that at the end of the last up to Soval game.
There was probably a little bit more security after
true.
taking precedent from that. Yeah,
true.
But I remember I used to love footy, and I used to go to, yes, I'm a Carlton fan, but I used to love going to whatever the Friday night game was. From year 7 to year 9, I would go every week with whoever wanted to go,
Yeah.
And my mum used to give me $10, and I used to come home with change, and that was enough to get on the train. So it might have been $1.50 for a return ticket on the train, $2 entry to the footy. So now I've spent $3.50. And I had enough to buy a record, which might have been another $1.50, and get a pie and a Coke, and then get home. And it was the best night ever.
Good luck now.
Now, just to get on the train costs $50. It's like, what am I buying, a carriage?
You're not even joking about that. That's scarily.
Footy records were cheap now. I don't know how much. I haven't bought them since, but I used to, and I used to love how it. On the scoreboard, it would give you a letter. So you had to buy a record to figure out who's playing who. And in the 90s on the footy shows, they would say, Carlton's playing Collingwood, at the MCG. If you don't want to know the score, please look away now. No one ever looked away. That was the best. Anyway.
Miss the 90s.
I miss the 90s. I miss full forwards. I miss... kicking the ball to the forward line, and there actually being players in the forward line, and they've changed the game so much that now that they've tried to bring that back by doing the 6-6-6, so you at least have to start there, but then it's still a rolling maul, ball chasing really, and the teams that are fittest now win, and the teams who have the biggest midfielders, and
it's like
I miss it. I miss kicking to a leading forward coming out of the goal square.
Yeah, and forwards don't lead these days. They just put it up.
It's just different. The game. We're always going to love it, but I don't know. We might put a poll out there. Just what do you think the best? It might not be a decade specifically, but it's always sort of easier to split it up that way. But that style of just having a full forward, having a target, having a solid defense, and just having some solid guts in the middle,
Yeah. Miss it.
Do you think skills are better now?
100%.
Skills are better now.
Yeah.
So you think,
but different as well. Like I think a little bit. There were players that changed the game. I think like Craig Bradley and Cooter changed it. Like Craig Bradley was a runner. Nathan Buckley was a traditional footballer. Cooter Feedes was an athlete that they turned footballer, and then for a good, I reckon 3-4 years, early 2000 periods, everyone was looking for the next Cooter. And I remember everybody and remember when Andrew Walker got drafted, he was the next Cooter.
Yeah, that's right.
Like it was all about who the next Cooter was, and never about who the best footballer necessarily was. And
I think Carlton have drafted that many athletes that have turned out to be absolute spuds based on this, but
look, we could create a whole new episode about Carlton's draft period for 20 years and the areas that it failed, and we still wouldn't even have enough time. What's your favourite game of the 90s?
I think we already touched on this. It's hard as a Carlton fan not to look past the 99 prelim.
95 grand final.
As a football fan, 95 Anzac Day, it just built it to be more than a game.
Yeah.
And the first sort of game that made you realise, footy is awesome, but this is what we play for,
It's true. It's true. Get out on the battlefield type thing.
It just really is. It really turned it into a war zone. And that's what we've got ever since. And that game is one of the best games every year, as much as we hate it.
Yeah, I hate both teams with an absolute passion. Despise them.
Whoops.
I hate both teams with a passion, so that makes me happy every time we play that. But I don't want to see any other team playing on Anzac Day. I don't want to see it. And it annoys me, like, again, maybe my bias with Carlton, but it annoys me when people crack the shits about Carlton playing the opening game against Richmond. Like, it's okay. It's all right to have teams like that in. Like Melbourne and Geelong or Melbourne Hawthorn have Easter Monday. I can't remember who it is. Keep it.
No, that's Collingwood, Melbourne.
Collingwood, Melbourne.
Yeah.
Let them keep it. North Melbourne and whoever they play on Good Friday, let them keep it. Yeah.
Still, I don't think opening the season is a big deal.
No, look, I think it was more for Carlton because we were shit, so we had something.
We got to watch Carlton lose round one.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but you're right. Anzac Day belongs to Collingwood and Essendon.
Yeah,
it is what it is because of them. I don't care if they're 15th or not 15th and 16th. How many teams are there now?
18, mate.
I don't care if they're 17th and 18th. That game will be a war.
Yeah.
And if one's first and one's last, that game will be a war.
Don't care. Just play it. Yeah, it's a good spectacle. And Dreamtime as well. Essendon, Richmond. I like all that stuff. Yeah. I like it. I
do like that too. Anyway, I've got. I want to get your reaction here. I've got some footage from the 90s. It doesn't go for too long.
Oh yes.
And we'll just, if there's any youngsters out there who didn't get to see a lot of the 90s, this is the type of stuff we got to see pretty much week in, week out. You got your superstar forwards taking hangers and kicking goals out of their ass. Let's roll it. Righto, make this full. Rain.
55 metres out. Good kick.
Oh,
Jesus. Oh my God, that's the start.
Did you see the
How did he get that high?
You see the flash of the camera? Have you seen that actual photo? Go back and watch it again and look for the.
55 metres out. Good kick.
Oh yeah. Why? What about that?
Yeah, that photo.
Look at Gary Lyon, by the way.
It's my head, man. It's really weird because that game looks like it's actually chock-a-block.
Yeah.
But when you look at the photo back from the other way, like it's perfectly shot, gets him at the right time. There's just empty.
There's no one there. Oh, no.
Nothing there. I think they were doing the renovations at the time. Look at the shorts. Look at Gary Lyon's shorts. That is insane.
Actually, I used to love those shorts, and they had like a little thing on the side that you could make them tighter or looser. Do you remember that? Or an extra button.
Right. Yeah.
I used to love
that. Oh, yes. Yeah. The
button on the shorts. And when I first started playing footy, they were the shorts I had.
Pay attention to the collars too, kids.
Oh, look at him go. He's taking the piss.
This cost us the grand final. It's touched, man. It's fucking touched.
Sauce doesn't
oh,
lie.
my God. It's touched.
Oh, my God. No way. Oh, my God.
He's pushed over 110 metres, 120 odd metres to create a loose.
Rattles.
Oh.
There's have they got the collars on the jumper there?
Good kick by Lehman into the breeze. Dacos stays down at the
Dacos.
Here's the magician.
What a magician is the word.
Oh.
How cool. Look at the crowd. Look at the pom-poms and the Suburban footy. You just don't get this anymore. It's not as intimate.
No.
It just seems like you're at a Super Bowl everywhere. You know, it's obviously cool, but it just seems so commercial.
Yeah,
it's
there was no better atmosphere than those suburban grounds, and just 25,000 fans screaming at the one goal or the one end was amazing.
So good.
Has Ellison crept up? Was it Stevens on the mark as he crept up?
His jumper looks good.
Gives it his best.
Jesus.
That is the mark of the year.
Look at their jackets. Awesome.
Oh, kick it. Oh. Before Cyril Rioli, there was kick it. Bang. Oh, what a mark. Oh, was that Shane Crawford?
Yeah. Rattles. He had that amazing kicking style that as soon as it was just so sweeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember those challenge footballs as well? They were amazing to kick.
They were good. The glitch.
Oh,
Waverley. Look at the seats. Wooden seats.
Second best number 44 ever. Carato's first.
Oh, look at
Richo.
Richo. Oh, the hair flick. That was the best. We have to go back.
He looks like he's the lead singer of a rock band.
Watch the hair flick. That's the best. I love it. He was one that we actually probably didn't mention that we should have. Richo was an absolute weapon.
800 goals.
And if he could have kicked, he would have kicked double that.
I agree.
No one would have stopped him.
Yep.
And if he played in a better side,
Yep.
And Richmond weren't, okay, that sounds rude. They weren't a horrible side. They were still a decent side. But,
Yeah.
you know, among all those interstate sides and Carlton's dominance and North's dominance, they just couldn't get there.
They were never true contenders.
Yeah, exactly. Richo. What a legend.
Nicky
another legend.
Handball was excellent to Tim Allen, who moved so well that you reckon he'll make his mark at Hawthorn.
Dunstall.
Yeah. And that's Dunstall. No fuss. Because he wasn't that big.
No.
And so he probably got lucky that he didn't always get the absolute fullback. You know what I'm saying?
But his midfield.
Yeah,
his
that's
midfield were pinpoint. He used to come out, lead out, chest mark.
And he'd kick 10 every week.
Yep.
Jones goes with the left, kicks it, and gets it.
Who's that?
Austin Jones.
Is it?
Austin Jones.
What is it? Bad clip. You could see it.
Running the Wizard, he's got
Oh, the
Jeff
whiz.
Farmer.
He's going to take him on.
I did like the Melbourne jumper, long sleeve. Oh, he's gone the barrel.
Oh,
Sensational play. Jeffrey Fark. The limp tackle. So the doctor.
This
he's-
must be a Modra.
just shepherd it through, man.
He was never gonna. Poor Mickey Martin has been a stepladder for his whole career.
We joke about Jake Carlisle being a stepladder,
Oh,
but
that's
Mickey
true.
Martin's got to be up there, isn't he?
Poor Mick.
Here it is. Gary Pert, stepladder.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of controversy about this because I don't know how much of this is a mark, but they pay it and you pay it. The umpire pays it, it's a mark, I guess, right?
The umpire pays his mark.
His state of origin.
Oh, piss off.
Wow.
The mark, and Dennis Pagan won't like that as Russell brings it in towards
Oh, one of my favourites. Big save.
He was the same as Dunstall, no fuss.
Yeah. This is very famous
Dacos.
guy. Look at that. You shouldn't be able to do that. This is before Eddie Betts did crazy stuff.
He was a pioneer.
What a goal.
Yeah, gun.
Oh, Jimmy. Looks strong.
McKenna hit hard by the North Melbourne defence. Oh, run away by King this time up towards centre forward. Archer in front. Good body and
Strauss.
Oh, yeah.
great mark to Swanson.
I like that West Coast jumper.
Yeah.
Knee reconstruction.
It's Modra again.
Must be.
Not going to make it. Modra takes off early and hangs
He actually got a hold of Sauce a few times, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
holds it. Hung there for him.
Even the fashion in the crowd in the 90s is great.
Penetrate towards the
Oh,
goal
Jeffrey.
Oh, Jeffrey Farmer.
Bouncing ball. Williams has been pretty quiet.
Harry.
Footer.
Oh, you saw this one coming a mile away.
Ren giving chase.
I was there this day.
This is something
Oh, yeah?
to watch.
Where was
Yeah.
this?
Goes long.
Waverley, yeah. 96, I think.
Carey. He
Winston.
Oh, what a mark.
runs, kicks to half forward. Clever kick. Kelly's done really well here to get the run of it.
Oh, what a gun.
Oh,
This will be a
good play, man. Brownlow medalist.
Russell gets past. He gets support from Grant. Slick handball to Garlic.
Chris Grant, sorry, is one that got through the cracks there. Very good player.
Yeah.
Very
but-
good player.
Yeah. No, not more than Richo, though.
No, not more than Richo, but-
Wanted the free kick. Not there. Garlic.
Oh, that's a great pickup.
This will be a great passage of play.
Yeah, it's very good.
Garlic, you are a star. High ball, not gonna be a
Oh,
goal.
Matty Lappin. Oh. Round 1
Look at
against
that, don't do that
Essendon.
too, just give it this guy.
Round 1 against Essendon. His first. First game for Carlton too.
There's that Freo jumper.
Look how clutch that goal is too. Look at the scoreline. That's
Looks like you.
hey, Clinner.
Great Freo jumper.
Morrison right on 50. Will he look for Plugger?
Plugger. Best kick for goal of all time? Hands down.
The only person that would
Sabre's pretty
rival him is Jason Dunstall. Like, you kick 1,300 goals, you're the greatest goal kicker of all time. Like,
I just mean like the way he kicks, his actual kicking style.
yeah,
It was just robotic, you know.
yeah.
I know Sav was pretty good too, but he was more from distance. Lockett was just pinpoint.
Yeah.
If Richo could kick like Lockett,
He would have kicked.
he would
more
kick
goals.
10,000 goals.
100%.
Another champion. Wanga.
Damon Wangan.
Oh,
Good footballer.
unreal.
His son
Look at
looks
that.
alright.
Does he? I missed that. Sorry, he's going back to the start. That was the end.
Yeah, his son looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came on the last quarter against the Bulldogs in the practice match and he just looked lively.
Wow.
Kicked a really nice goal. Was so close to kicking another, just absolute beauty. But Essendon have a good one there.
Well,
They
yeah.
have a good one.
That
Yeah.
one. Righto, Clinner. We've got to the end of our 90s episode. We've gone through some nostalgic moments. I don't know if I feel better or worse.
I've got mixed emotions about it.
I'm really nervous. We've got Carlton Tigers in a couple of weeks.
Tigers look good too, don't they?
Tigers look good.
Tigers
Yeah,
look good.
people are writing them off. I don't know why. They got all their players back from injury. Yeah, they're a little bit older, but you've got to trust in your system, I guess. Anyway, It's going to be a good game in a few weeks. And our next episode will be probably just before that.
Live.
We're going to live. So you can join us and send in your comments and whatnot.
Yeah, be part of the show. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok,
lot going
Instagram. Just at the thing about football. You'll find us on everywhere and we'll keep you updated on all that stuff. But be part of the show. Run in, comment, all that kind of crap. We want you to be part of it. Be part of it. So, yeah.
Sounds good. All right, pal. I will see you then.
Good times.